because my questions are about Salford City FC.
Seriously?
Yeah, they're amazing. They're in League Two.
Without COVID, that whole script would seem very odd.
Yeah.
You'd say, why are they doing that? Like, what? How is this a story? Why would anyone want to watch this? But the fact that COVID is there, what it effectively does is that the words they're saying are only very shallow, but what's beneath that, the subtext, is what makes it interesting, because it's not that they're bored at home. They have no choice than to be at home.
This is not actually going to be in the film. I just wanted to clean the taps.
Bacon in here. Here's the Dom cracking jokes left, right, and centre. Yeah, you're right. The best bits do come out when you're rolling.
I'd watched a documentary about Wuhan and about life under lockdown, and there was a particular story there which really stuck with me. It was a married couple called Li Ting and Tai Kai Hai, who she had contracted coronavirus. And this story just really appealed to me, the fact that two people could be living together but actually had to be separated.
Almost, I guess the idea's always been in my head to do something creative or make some kind of film or project of some sort. And I just thought it'd be a really good experience, especially within the flat, you know, to get everyone all working together on something. Definitely when I was at that point I had no concept or idea of what to do, but we grew it definitely as an idea, I think, and then obviously I was completely creatively stifled, which is why I reached out to you to get some advice on how to conceive an idea in a way.
You know, he wasn't. I don't think he came to me looking for a script as such. I think he was just initially looking to bounce ideas. But as it happens, I had this script, and I said, well, you know, I'm not planning on making it, so it's yours.
Scene 1? No. Day 1? No.
To a welcome video to show you Jake's lovely bedroom setup. Through the magic curtain.
And this will be the last take in Jake's
The laptop, watching Daisy sleep.
Rob will say, oh, I really feel we should do this film, and they ask me just like, oh, would you do something if we do? And I just said, yes, I can do it, but I don't want to talk, so just my face. I said, oh, okay.
Go on, yep, go on.
Wow.
That one is heavier than this one. That's not that heavy.
You'll be using it for your workouts now. You're saying, bring me that low angle prism so I can do my HIIT class.
So I did inspect all this equipment in the flat, and all these heavy materials. To the point we couldn't all leave the house. Somebody has to stay in the house 24 hours because they were so expensive cameras.
And yeah, all in a face mask and gloves as well, sweating my off.
Just before we go for this take, Rob, that picture behind you's got a really bad glare. Do you reckon we can bring the top of it away toward the lens, the top towards and the bottom away? Can you see if we've ever established what is to the right of his desk up against that back wall? Anything that'll bring it a couple of inches closer.
Right, pop it out.
Oh, yes.
Like that.
That's perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Boom. Let's go.
And the average viewer will never know.
Between me, you and Will, we all kind of had like a few ideas on production or things like floating around there, but what was amazing for me is like Federica's progression, because it went from not really ever knowing a film set or the equipment or anything like that to towards the end of it like being really confident and actually contributing to the making of the film and throwing ideas out there on set of how we could do certain things, which is incredible progression when you think that was over the course of 3 days. Going from like there to there, and having this understanding. You enjoying your first day on set, Federica? you ready for our reshoot?
No.
Don't worry, it'll be over soon. And back to a quick view of our lovely dom stand.
You've made a blinding meal. You're going to make a day.
Yeah.
There you go. That's not there.
I go, alright, okay. You were directing me and talking me into a scene, and it just pulled this incredible emotion, and I didn't actually know I was capable of that, and I didn't actually know, you know, as a director that's what you do, and that you were capable of like forcing me into that zone, because I've never been directed before and I've never acted before, so it was amazing that I could get into this headspace, this completely different headspace that I've never been in. Oh, Daisy? Yeah, she's okay. She's struggling a little bit, but she's tough. She's trying her best.
Well, one of the things that I think you two should be most proud of is on a normal everyday film set, in most cases, is that you are reacting to another human being, unless you're shooting like a big CG thing. You weren't reacting to, and you were looking at a blank laptop screen, and that, I think that's what you should be most proud of, the fact that you've crafted these performances that look and feel very genuine, and the only times where you were reacting to another human being is where we recorded a webcam and showed that to you, but you weren't even reacting to it. Like it was taken from 3 or 4 different takes and put together.
It made me lose my head.
Hey, don't worry. Honestly, it's fine. So that there's no more noise. So this is where the camera setup was, and then this is my laptop. This is where I'm sitting on a bed. This is a light, and this is what the laptop is supported on. It's lying on top of a book that is on the corner of a desk that is supported by a roll of red PVC and a bit of black camera tape. And that's the gap.
Do you want to know something hilarious, Rob?
Go on.
We're going to have to do all this again for the daytime Skype sequence.
Well, maybe you should take a picture so we know what position we need to get in, so you don't keep asking me to tweak the light.
Well, I feel luckily that light won't be there in the daytime, will it?
Should we take a picture?
Of what?
How we are,
Mate,
so we've got a record.
It doesn't matter, because in the daytime it's completely different.
And as you can see, we still have our Dom.
You're filming behind the scenes.
I'm doing Dom, obviously I've been little bit
It's 12:30 in the morning and we're still shooting.
preoccupied with finishing off the cooking scene, so I haven't got much behind the scenes for this bit. So I thought for the final scene I'd just get a little cheeky video, show our fabulous director up till 12:30 on his Skype call. Our cameraman sweating his,
Trying to prepare for this final shot.
and then
Ridiculous filmmaking there.
and it's like summer holiday in here as well. You know, the rooms were baking hot and things. When we were acting, it was very nice having the Dom stand, because it was a calming voice, relaxing us into the acting, which is credit to you in doing what you do and your craft, because if you were, you know, a different demeanour in the way you handle things, I think that would have been a bit of a like pressure cooker situation, and we probably wouldn't have got the performances we did, because we were already in a pressure cooker in a sense. So the calming voice talking us in and explaining us, I definitely found that very soothing, and I'm sure you did as well.
Yeah, it was more. I thought I was gonna be more stressed on doing the dialogue, but I was stressed the first scene, even though I didn't talk. I was just in bed, maybe because it was the first time in front of the camera. I thought the most stressful part was the part of the dialogue, but you made me feel very calm. I said just relax and and I felt like it was something having a conversation and trying to be calm. Then it worked.
Are we done talking? My back is dying. Can we move, please? Thank you. Please, can we move? Stop.
Just getting a. She wants a little cheeky bit of leg in there. We're date night, mate.
Yeah. Wearing those jeans in this shot.
I heard and saw a lot that you guys were in very tight, cramped spaces, and as a director, I'm usually never not by the camera, or never not by the monitor, and I work very closely with my DP or with the actors, and I felt a great sense of guilt that you three were doing so much, and I almost felt like I wasn't doing enough, and maybe a part of me felt I needed to overcompensate for that. I don't know, but I just felt very detached, but I just felt guilty as well. The fact that I felt like you three were doing so much work, and I was just sitting here on Skype, and I just it was a great experience. Don't get me wrong, but I didn't feel, and this was because of social distances. It was never about you three. I just didn't feel as involved as I usually do, and it was a circumstance that we couldn't control. But
that was one of the things that we said. It's going to be interesting how this actual challenge works. But from our perspective, I think having you on set was a crucial thing, because if we didn't have that kind of outside of the flat influence, who knows where the schedule would have been at. We might have been a bit lazier with shooting. We might not have, steamed through things as quickly as we could. And always kind of having this person to call and have there, and as I said earlier, a calming voice was definitely a big help to the film, especially considering the circumstances of us not being actors and us not having really enough bodies for all the roles. It's definitely a massive help.
It's interesting to see that from your perspective, because I'll tell you what, from my perspective, the job that you did was actually so incredibly important and amazing, because one of my strongest recollections from the set was, because I was on set and I was almost taking on this sort of an AD role and bossing people around and telling them, we have to get moving, we've got to get this shot done. I was paranoid all the time because the sun would be moving in the sky, or we'd have there was one day in particular, there was a bit of an overcast spell and it was destroying my lighting, and we had a bit of sun, and I'd been keeping a close track of where the sun was going to be in the sky, and I knew that we had a really short window, and you were helping to get Rob into character, and he was playing music to get him in the mood, and you guys were chatting, and it's a very calm, relaxing atmosphere. You were getting him into exactly the headspace he needed to be in. And I was being this quite sort of bullshit, aggressive input on the set, being quite demanding and, right guys, stop mucking around, let's get in the scene, please let's get this shot done before the sun moves. And you kind of were very delicate in the way you steered through without kind of losing focus of what it was we were trying to achieve in terms of Rob's performance. And when we then got the shot, I remember it was a profile shot of him in the daytime Skype sequence, from a profile angle, and once we got, I think we did a single take, and I remember you saying straight away, right, cut there, you said absolutely fantastic, that's the best performance you've done in this scene all the way through. And it really made me think, for all of the kind of the stress that I was feeling on the set, maybe it was a benefit that you weren't physically here, because what it meant was that you were able to radiate that calmness, and that you gave Rob the ability to be in the headspace that made him do a single take and have a perfect performance. So it may have seemed like a negative to you sometimes, but it certainly worked out positive. On this film, we were able to say, we want direct sunlight in the window for every scene, so we'll shoot every scene at the time when the sun is in that position in the sky. So, that was a dream in that sense as well, because it meant we could also, in such a tiny flat with very little scope to squeeze lighting in, effectively, the time of day was our lighting plan, you know,
Yeah.
direct sunlight. We could have always, of course, you can cheat it. You can create the illusion of direct sunlight. Of course you can. But then you require a lot of equipment. You might have a crane outside. You might have a cherry picker with a lamp, a big HMI lamp on it. We allowed the sun to be our key light at all times.
On the table, and by table I mean table in the bedroom.
Thank you,
Just
Rob.
clarify, bedroom.
Thing is though, Rob, you had it behind you with a lamp on it all morning.
Yeah,
so
but
you
you-
should have known where it was as much
Yeah,
as I
but you
should.
said to me it's in the lounge quite earlier when you said to me something was somewhere and it wasn't there. There was a lot of stress going around. There was incredible arguments. I feel like the one me and Will had is definitely a stick out memory because that was like a very intense argument that was just over and back to work 5 minutes later. It's like, how am I supposed to find it if you tell me where it is and it's not there?
Well, who do you think I am? The memory man? I know exactly where everything is at all times.
Well, you were the one going to Federica last night. Oh yeah, I know it's a and I know it's a mess, but it's my mess and I know where everything is. So pipe down, sonny
apart from
boy.
when you moved, Rob.
I don't move nothing. Not touched any.
And you've got to take the lock off from underneath, mate.
Okay. Where do you want the bowl?
Anywhere you like, mate.
In a way, there's a small time window to actually do it because in like maybe a year's time, it wouldn't make sense to actually film this film. So it's nice that it wasn't just a script in the end, and that it could actually become something. And
I think content in general will change, won't it? Whereas before you might have had dramas that were quite sort of expansive and moving to different locations and having lots of different characters in, everything might now become a little bit more sort of more enclosed and secluded. Perhaps you're going to have much more in-depth character studies of individuals and almost like experiences that are going on within their mind as opposed to out in the real world. So things might become a little bit more close and almost affectionate in that way, I suppose.
The last shooting day, I think we wrapped about 1 o'clock in the morning. And it was just one of these amazing things where we were all tired, but the adrenaline has taken us through. And I think also because we know we're doing something that's important to us. And yeah.
Yeah, I just got a lot of respect for all three of you, and I had before this started anyway, but I, just from a filmmaking point of view, so much. Thank you.
It was a real pleasure working with you, Dol. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
appreciate that, and likewise to you, mate. It was it's tough for us all, but we got through it, and amazing job all round, I think.
Jack Sidera.
See?